Hey everybody, Mr. G here. In this video, we have this JSON pickled JSON file with information about an object, and the question is, how would we go about deserializing this information? How could we cut down all of these pieces back into a nice person object for us to use? So let's look at our deserializing notes here. So again, just to highlight the workflow. In the writing program, we took an object, we JSON pickled it, and then we tossed it into JSON. Now we have JSON. We need to unpickle it or depickle and then turn it back into an object. So we need to reverse that flow. So at this point, we're given a JSON file. That's the one we were just looking at, person.json. We're given a JSON file with some pickled objects, pickle and code. And we want to deserialize them using JSON and JSON pickle together. First step, make sure you have your modules imported. So if I were to open deserializing Pi, I have my imports at the top. If we want to use JSON pickle to turn a JSON holding a custom object back into a version of that object, we have to have what we call similarly defined code to the original object in this other file as well. So when I say similarly defined, it means that we have to have the exact same class name, instance variables, or parameter names. So here, I'm redefining the person class. I actually just copy pasted it from the previous project. It could be slightly modified though, in the sense that it has to be person, and it has to be self._name and self._age. But all of these other pieces, what our toString method could be, these temporary names, those things could change without causing any issues here. So depending on your use case, you might find that you need to slightly change your definition of this class in the place where you're importing it. So now let's follow our reverse workflow. First of all, we need JSON to take the information from the file with load and save it to a variable. So load string is going to hold on to this interesting pickled information that JSON pickle did earlier. And now we use JSON pickle to translate back into a person object. So I'm going to say p1 equals, I'm going to say JSON pickle loads, and I pass in that string that we just created from the JSON file. And JSON pickle.loads goes through all the effort and it says, okay, let's figure out, this is going to be a person object. Oh, we know how to define a person object. Let's toss all the information in there. Oh, good. We have a name, we have an age. Let's make sure we associate those values and save that all to P1. And now when we print P1, we see Mr. G's 24 years old. So we got, not only did it turn it back into an object, it even correctly used the toString method later on, which means it really is a person according to our program. Something to consider, we could have condensed this in one fewer line, just like we did with serializing. Inside of the with open, we could do p2 equals, and we could do jsonpickle.loads, json.load my file, and cut out that intermediate variable. Again, consider the cost of readability, but this works absolutely fine. And if we printed p2, we'll notice that it produces the exact same output. So at this point, we can make custom objects. We've been able to do that for a while, but now we have a way to turn them into a nice intermediate that we can then bring into another program. So that's how we deserialize. Now we're going to talk in the last section about how do we do this, but with multiples of an object. If I had more than one person, if I had people, how would I go about doing this? What would it look like?